All right, fantastic. So it is just an honor and a joy for me to be sitting here with Niles Fitch. I'm sure everybody knows your face, and I'm sure everybody has seen you on TV. And now you're breaking into movies and just really, really, doing an amazing thing in your career, brother. But I had the privilege of getting to know you when you were a little bit younger, and a little bit shorter, and that voice was a little bit higher. But it's really great to be seeing you again, man.
It's great to see you too. I appreciate you having me, and I'm excited to answer these questions.
Absolutely. Before we get started, I think there are a lot of youth that are really in how you grow a career, right? Like, how do you go from being a kid that really wants to get involved in the arts, wants to act and sing, and then be able to grow yourself into where you are right now? Can you talk a little bit about like your early career and how you got started?
Yeah, so when I first started, I was 3 or 4. I like taking pictures, and my parents always heard suggestions of getting me into, the business, whether it was modeling or acting. Uh, and for my parents, he seems to be into it. It's not like it's something that we have to force him to do. And he can make some good college money. So that's how it started. And, first they sent my picture off to some agencies that they did research on. Now you can literally just look up agencies and they have it to where you can submit things online or send them an email. And we took some headshots and sent it out. And then I think 4 of the agencies hit back. We chose Babes and Bows, I believe was the name. Uh, and I guess you say the rest is history. I think the reason that I've been able to get here, however, is just the hard work and the determination. I've been acting for, I'm about to be 20, so nearly 17 years. Uh, so it's taken, 15 plus years to be able to get to where I'm at. So while I am young, it is no small feat what I've done because of all the time that I've had to put into it. I guess it's just looked at different because, you see 19 next to my name.
And they think, oh, they're just getting up there and they're just being themselves. They don't think about technique. They don't think about like that thousands of hours of time that you put in, right? When you and I met, it was because you were young Simba on the Lion King national tour. Can you talk for a minute about that experience and what you remember about that?
Yeah, Lion King, I feel like was one of the best experiences I think I've had so far. Um, I remember when I first saw the Lion King, and my mom saying, "Hey, you could do that," and me being like, "Yeah, I could never." Like, did not think that it was possible. I look back and I still don't know how it was possible. Um, but I first auditioned at like the Apollo, got into a whole training session with like 19 other kids to be young Simba or young Nala, knowing that they would only choose 2 from each gender. Um, Went hard at that and was luckily chosen to be on the national tour. I did the whole trip with my whole family the entire time. I got to see what it meant to be a Black person from different angles and different perspectives, people from different socioeconomic backgrounds, whether they were gay, straight, bisexual, whether they were young or old, whether they had a family or not. And I got to not only travel America with those people. I got to then see, let's say if we're in Buffalo, I'm getting to see how people in Buffalo live, or how people in Syracuse live, or how people in Baltimore live. And I really feel like that made me have a better understanding of, the how there isn't one right way to live or one right way to be. And I feel like for me, it was that really helped me, as a person, as an actor, because everybody was being authentic in themselves. And when you're in an environment like that, you're gonna steal things from people. And you know, I got to do that whole thing with my family, and there's literally nothing like that. So, being able to say that I was able to do that at a young age is a flex. I just wish people understood how cool it was.
Listen, I still tell people all the time about touring, and their minds are blown, right, with just what that lifestyle is. And I'm glad you brought up the fact that your family was there, because I think that's something that's really important when you're an actor, when you're an artist, and especially when you're touring. Can you talk about how important it is for you to have your family support?
Yeah, without my family, I wouldn't be where I am. If I didn't have my mom and dad that sacrificed, them having their own business in order for me to somehow be set up in a better position than they may have been able to do in the future, when it comes to money wise, or my platform, I commend them on it, because they had a lot of people telling them that what they were doing wasn't right, or it could backfire. Or what if he doesn't make it like you guys hope. uh so the fact that I do have support from my family, not just my immediate family, but the ones that are still in Atlanta, Georgia, always texting me and supporting and giving me phone calls, it means the world to me. And I feel like it reminds me who I'm doing this for. So I can make sure that, future generations to come and the generations that are living right now, that we don't have to deal with the poverty. Simple as that.
Yeah. What's really interesting about what we're trying to do is make sure that a lot of youth can understand what a pipeline program actually should look like, right?
Mm.
So how do they look at a high school program and grow that into college, and from college and training and grow that into professional career? And
Yeah.
what you said a few moments ago about being able to see Blackness from different angles, and different types of Black folk, and that there's no one right way, right,
Yeah.
to who you are, I think is really important. How do you think that plays into your work as an actor?
I think it gave me confidence to be comfortable. And I feel like I'm already talking from a privileged perspective, because I can go into a casting office and feel comfortable because I know I have This Is Us. However, before I got This Is Us, it started off with like, let's just say when you go into a casting office, that character is not thinking my livelihood depends on me booking this role. And that desperation, I feel like, comes across on camera.
Mm.
Uh, So, however that person can figure it out, find that comfortability. Uh, because you could, when you don't have that comfortability, you're going into an audition room and focusing on the lines. I'm going into an audition room and sparking up conversation with the casting director before I go and act. So not only are you killing the scene, but the casting director also thinks you're a very cool person. Uh, and it's all about connections. So even if I don't book this role, that conversation I had with that casting director was so beneficial. That role that he gets a month from now, if it fits my description, he may call me. It may not even fit my description, but because he liked me so much, or she liked me so much, I'm getting called back in. Uh, so for me, that's what I say you have to do. You have to find your comfortability and find that confidence within yourself that whatever I do, I'm gonna do it. And I make choices where I feel like sometimes my agent doesn't even understand, but I'm confident with it. And I have that belief that this is how I view the character. And you're gonna tell that casting director what they should be seeing, because they don't know.
Can you talk a little bit about the audition process? Because I think there are a lot of youth out there that are trying to figure out, well, what does it mean to walk into an audition? What's like, how do you get sides? What is a side? Can you just talk about how you got comfortable being able to walk into that room?
Yeah. Well, for me, uh, I stopped going over the lines last minute. Uh, I feel like when you're young, you're confident. Yeah, I'll go over this. You get the audition maybe 5 days before the audition. Don't start going over it till it's like 2 days before, a day before. Uh, so allocating more time to your craft, because you can't be expecting success if you're not putting the work behind it. Uh, taking deep breaths, drinking water and being hydrated. Um, I feel like those were the main things that, you know, helped me. And then just sparking up conversation. I really feel like, you know, sparking up conversation even throws me off how I think an audition is supposed to be set and planned. Um, you know, that casting director's been auditioning a bunch of people that, you know, look similar to you. May not be you, but they look similar to you. What's different? What's going to make you different from other people? And for me, I feel like nobody can recreate a conversation. You know, that people can't even hear that. People can hear you auditioning outside the room. And I've seen people listen and then they go into the room and then I think they do the exact same thing that other person did.
Right.
That's why if I hear somebody, I go the other way so it doesn't affect me.
Right.
Uh, but you know, I feel like those are the main things you can do. You know, and it's hard to say, yeah, this part could change your life. So don't trip about it. You know, be comfortable. Um, but I feel like that answer is different for everybody else. How are you going to feel comfortable in knowing, yeah, this could be a life-changing role, but I may not book it, you know? And I feel like once you get to that place to where you're confident in, hey, if I don't book it, who cares? You know, their loss. I feel like that's when you reach another level of acting because you know you got to be comfortable to hit those places. You're like, I can't have a cry scene and be thinking, dang, I had to hit this cry scene
Right.
because it won't happen like that, you know. You just got to be into it, you know, and take those deep breaths. You know, take that time before you go into an audition room when they're looking at you saying, "Are you ready?" Read that whole script again before you do it. You know, take those deep breaths. Uh, you know, talk slower. You know, just be comfortable. I feel like those are the main things, and less is more.
Yeah.
Sounds crazy, but I've been booking stuff, and it was when I realized less is more. Like
Yeah.
I should be talking, and
So,
I
so talk to people about that because a lot of the questions that we have are from youth that are trying to grow their career. They might be doing community theater at home. They might have done, some local auditions, and everybody seems to want to get out and do right. They want to show everything, and you have a really, really nice subtlety. I'm going to be really honest. I did not watch a whole lot of This Is Us until somebody said, "Man, Niles was on there killing it," and I was like, "Really?" And they're like, "Yeah, he's killing it. You got to watch the show." And there's a really nice subtlety that you have in your work. And it takes a lot of actors a while to be able to get to that point. For the young actors that are sitting there right now that are sending all these questions in, can you talk a little bit about what it is to just like relax into a scene? What does less is more actually mean for you?
um, that was a good question. I like that. Uh, yeah, for me, when it comes to less is more, I feel like when we think of a scene, we plan how the scene is going to happen in our heads instead of being in the moment and just playing it out. I see when a lot of my peers study lines, they're studying lines fully in it.
Mhm.
Uh, and for me, I don't understand that personally
Mhm.
because how can I portray something fully into it and I don't have my scene partner?
Right.
Or I just have my mom reading it with me or my sister reading it with me. I feel like that does a disservice because then I'm already planning how something will happen. Like I can't go and ask a girl out and before I do it, be like, all right, this is how I'm gonna ask her out and this is how I'm gonna do it. Because when you're in that moment, it never happens like that. And next thing I know, I'm stuttering on the phone and I gotta hang up because I'm embarrassed. uh, no. That was me in middle school. No.
No, that's okay. We're all there sometimes, man. Don't worry about it.
So I'd say don't plan it out. When studying lines, look at it as if you're just reading those words
Right.
because, if you're trying to add inflection, you can think about it. But, for me, it's always been when doing it on the day, it's always come off even more natural because I've studied lines, but haven't perfected how I'm going to say it to you in the moment.
Right.
Uh, that's why but that comes with time and practice. And then I'd say practice. You know, if you want to be a leading man or a leading woman, prepare yourself to be a leading man and a leading woman. They want leading men and leading, women to be in shape and built. So start working out, start running. I want to be a leading man, so that's what I do. You know, um, and I feel like one other thing that we need to do as actors, so we're even better in the casting room, is have pastimes outside of acting. So acting isn't something the only thing that you're focused on. I feel like that also helps your level of comfortability. When it's like, man, I got an audition tape and these lines just aren't clicking, I'll go play basketball or go swim or I'll do something to take my mind off of it. And then I notice when I go back to, to those lines, I remember it. There's nothing wrong with a good 1 hour power nap. Like, I'm going to the audition, it's 8 pages. I only know 4. Instead of going over those lines that whole, car ride, I may go over it for about 15 and take a nap. Next thing I know, I'm waking up and I know all 8 pages. Yeah. But it's because we're resting our brain. Sometimes we overwork our brain because we're so excited, which is good. But you also have to know how to, use that excitement to your advantage. And if you care about it so much, you just going to sleep. Your brain's going to do the work for you. You use these little things, but it's also, what works for you. So, I just gave you like 6, 7, take one out of
1 or 2. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I have a question here from somebody who's wondering how you made that transition from theater into television and film. Can you talk a little bit about what that process was like for you?
Yeah, so for me, I was already doing TV before I got into theater. So it was actually, I was told not even to take the Lion King role.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I was already doing stuff in TV and film. And doing the Lion King to them was taking a step backwards. And we left those people and then went and did Broadway. But it was actually weird to transition from theater back to acting because of the notion that I have to project all the time.
Right.
I actually think that's when I had to teach myself to be comfortable, because when you're doing theater, you're having to kind of, elevate what you would do because you're having to project it to all these people. And I feel like when I went back into it, with this voice, I'm talking a little bit too loud, or how I am on set, I may be overdoing it. Not to where it's bad, but you can tell when you meet a theater actor versus just someone who's just acted. So for me, it's watch your pitch, watch your tone, make sure you're not overacting. And don't expect TV to be like theater, because ain't nothing like theater.
What's the difference to you?
Instant gratification.
Yeah.
It's
right there.
Yeah, you find out immediately. You do that 5-minute scene, you're already back in your dressing room, or getting prepared for the next number. But in acting, you may do 2 scenes and you're taping those 2 scenes the whole day. Or you may only do 1 scene the entire day. Or you may show up and you have a quick 2 hours on set, which are the best days, where you're out by 12. Or you have a whole night shoot. So it's very rigorous. I feel like people don't understand the rigor that, is needed when getting into TV and film. There's not a lot of time allocated for, doing studies, which is something that, I feel like, we at our age should be focused on. So you have to create a lot more time for that. But it's that instant gratification. You don't get to see that smile. You may get it from people on the crew, but you're not getting that honest reaction from the audience that you would get. Yeah.
I'm glad you brought up academics in a way too, because there are a couple questions in here about how do you balance, right? Like, you've been in this game for 17 years, you're about to be 20 years old. That's basically your whole life. Yeah. how do you manage to keep yourself from getting overly stressed out, to like still feel the freedom to be your age, to study, to ask out women, to, you know, to have that life without feeling like the whole weight of the industry is on your back?
Still learning. You know, there is a lot of pressure. You know, there's societal pressure, there's familial pressure, there's uh, you know, there's pressure because you have to remember you have a lot to lose when hanging out with people. You know, there's a lot to lose. You know, I have a lot to lose in general. Something that that my, you know, white peer may do that I may do may not have the, you know, same level of, you know, reaction. You know, if something were to happen. Um, for the school part for me, um, I always knew that since I started so young in the business and was never able to get a full like 4 years of middle school, however long middle school is, or 4 years of high school. I know that
Yeah.
uh, because I was always in and out of school. So it's like I'm going to high school for 4 months. Hey, I'm popular. Oh, this is. Oh, I gotta leave because I gotta go film something. Or oh wow, like oh, I'm really enjoying this school. Ah, wait, like you know I gotta leave now because like that was always how it was happening. So for me I always knew I gotta make college happen. So I always stayed studying, and you know I'm still in school right now, you know, in college, sophomore. So wait, yeah, sophomore. I'm a sophomore.
Yeah.
Just make it clear because new semester. I just finished my last semester. Got 2 A's, by the way. Just putting that out there.
Nice.
80 to 80 on my final. Just just letting y'all know you can be an actor and still flex your grades. I
Yes.
feel like that's something that we forget, that you know you can't, you know, a lot of people see the acting and they're like, do you even need school? And who cares if you need school? But my thing is, if you have school and then you have an education, like there's nothing wrong with that. So to just, you know, say that you don't want to do it just because of the work, I feel like is a very short-minded way to think of something. You know, it's very thinking in the now rather than thinking about that nows in the future. So for me, it was like, okay, I'm a I'm gonna gain a lot of education, you know, a lot of knowledge. I'm gonna have fun.
Right.
Uh, Yeah, those two things. So it's like, why would you not want your future self to be set up, especially in the rooms that I'm guessing you all want to move in, which is, you know, being an actor, being a director, being a producer, being in fashion. Like if you're an actor, you can't just be one single thing. Um, you know, we're all very multifaceted. So for me, it was if I get this education, I get this degree, plus I have all these years of experience, who the hell can stop me from walking into these rooms that I want to walk in?
Right.
Like who can no one can close that door on me because I got this degree and plus I got 17 years of experience. You
Mhm.
know, and it's not some bull, like it's for real 17 years of experience. So why are you not letting me into this room? You know, you want it to where people, you know, you want to make it to where people want to help you. And you know, college helps build relationships, whether it's personal or it's for the industry that you want to get in. So for me, I always knew this is what I want to do, but it's not easy because they only give you, I think, 2 hours, 2.5 hours, maybe three to study on set. So, you know, you're gonna have to get home and put in work. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna have to have days where you catch up with a bunch of work. You know, you're gonna have to be emailing teachers if you miss something to try to get on, you know, you're gonna have to overly study for a test. So when you're taking that test, you ace it because you don't know whether or not you may have a late assignment in the future. Every extra credit thing you need to be doing, you know? So, you know, I didn't really understand it till probably like junior year of high school. And then I realized, whoa, like how much your education matters. So the earlier that you understand it, whether you truly understand it or not, just give a damn so you could brag. Like it's as simple as that. You know, give a damn so you can ask for that PS5. You know, like if it's as simple as that. Because
Right.
here's my thing: your parents also can't complain about you being or wanting to be an actor or actress if you're handling your grades. Like seriously, like they can't not want to have to drive you to places or you know want to, you know, if you're handling what you need to be handling, which if your parents don't understand your dream, if they just strictly view stuff as education first, if you're handling your educational needs, they can't deny you from, chasing your dreams because you're already handling what you need to be handling. And you know, I really want, more of, young people to get into the business to understand how important school is. Cause I have so many peers that are bored out their damn mind.
Yeah.
They may not be working right now and they have nothing to do.
And it's a business, right? Like at the end of the day, if you don't understand that business aspect, you can't protect yourself when you walk into the room and signing contracts.
Exactly. And the them contracts are a whole thing. And your lawyers won't even explain it to you unless, you force them to, because they don't believe that you have that knowledge anyway, especially if you're Black. So
Yeah.
you really have to, luckily my mom's a lawyer. My dad was a financial advisor. So we have, I guess you say a financial background to where we understand more things. But, there's a lot of things, getting incorporated, uh, understanding contracts, understanding, you know, the unions. There's a lot of knowledge that is needed. So, the quicker that you can get that, maybe, if that's through education or whether it's through reading or, watching things or coming to things like what we're having right now,
Mhm.
I feel like it's beneficial, because if you view yourself as a leading man, whether you're not that right now, live your life as such, speak that stuff into existence because, you know, uh, I view myself as a billionaire. So why should I not be thinking with a billionaire mindset right now?
Absolutely. So you've touched a couple of times on something that I want to circle back around to, where
Yeah.
you've talked about some of your other peers that aren't Black, right?
Yeah.
Um, like one of your white peers does something that has different ramifications for you. The whole point of what we're trying to do is make sure that we can uplift emerging Black artists, that we can give Black and Brown students like a better understanding of how somebody that came from a similar background as them was able to get to a certain point, right? And give them that viewpoint of representation.
Yes.
Can you talk a little bit about any of the difficulties that you've seen? Everybody knows your face now, right? Like you out there, you're doing movies and television and Broadway is that distant memory. But like as a Black man in this industry, especially considering the current climate, right? And what was going on in 2020 and the unrest, the revolution that was really developing and building.
Mm.
Can you talk about how that's affected your work and how you've seen that affect the industry for you?
Yeah. So it's a good time to be Black right now if you're in the industry, because they want to hear our voices.
Yeah.
I feel like this may be one of the only few industries where they realize how they effed up for so many years. So now they're
Mhm.
trying to, fix that by putting out a lot of Black content or
Mhm.
content that have Black people in it or Black creators.
Yeah.
Um, so I have noticed a significant change. However, I feel like this is probably the most liberal business to be in. So, uh, you'll get treated on set great because they know you. But then I'll go to a store right after finishing set, and some white woman will be looking at me rude, or I have a racist incident at some nice restaurant that I've gone to. But so you say a lot of people have recognized, know me now, and I guess that's true. Like I do notice it some bit, but
Mhm.
based on me looking so different than how I look in the show,
Mhm.
to them, I'm just a Black man with money. So I get the same occasional looks. I get people, not trying to let me over in my car. I'm always dealing with some bull. So much so that, when I was telling my mom about it, she didn't understand. Like, because to you and I, it's normal. And she didn't really understand it, whether, not that it's normal, but it's our everyday life. So, why the hell am I going to be talking about it all the time? Like, why do I want to fill my time up with talking about all this negative stuff that happens to me? Uh, but it still happens. I really think, California even, is very racist, even more racist than when I was in the South, because at least those racists were upfront about their racism.
Yeah.
Yeah, out here, they're very subtle about it, and it's very class. There's a big class system in California, so you'll deal with racism from every single race, and then meet black people that don't want to deal with you because you're like a poor black, or you're not a black from Calabasas, like where they're from, or
Right.
you don't have influential parents like they do. Um, so you're always dealing with racism. It's better in the industry,
Yeah.
but that's because they know in this industry you're not going to be successful if you're racist.
Yeah.
Um, you're not going to last long if you're treating people different because of the color of their skin. So, thankfully we are protected in this industry because of that. But it's still evident, and just because you get an act, and don't forget who you are, because you'll get reminded real quick. And I deal with hearing not racist things, but ignorant comments from cast,
Mhm.
from people that I've worked with in cast before. So you can't ever escape it. People hearing about me, the college that I'm, attending, and them hearing, oh, you think you're gonna fit in and get along with people? It's like, why would I not?
Right.
It's because they don't hear a bunch of, black people may go here. And to them, I can only fit in with black people, So, you deal with bull every day. It's just knowing how to address it, especially as a black man, especially as a black man with a deep voice, especially as, you know, someone that they view as a threat, because I'm a black man with knowledge at 19, taking care of my family. So, uh, there's a weird way to, I mean, there's a certain way to handle things, and I'm still learning, because I'm not a man yet, but I'm still learning how to traverse those things, and being able to find people that look like you in the same industry as you. You can talk to them about it. Maybe they can give you advice, but that's really how I've learned from situations.
And it's interesting because I think in a lot of ways, people think that theater and film is completely absent of any sort of prejudice.
Mhm.
But I know on your show, you guys deal with race and you talk about it in a really open way, right?
Mhm.
Does that, the fact that you guys talk about it, do you think that seeps into your everyday life? Does that help you kind of process things in a different way? Or does it work the other way around, right? Like because you have this experience, are you able then to bring that into your work?
Well, I think maybe for people who haven't dealt with racism their whole life, yeah.
Yeah.
So I think for maybe some of my white castmates, they've thought about stuff and taken it home. But for me, I feel like I learned the most about racism from Lion King. Um, so I do believe that being able to play Randall has benefited me in how I look at people, and how I handle situations, especially because the character that Randall is, uh, you'll get white people that come up to you, and they don't see Randall as overly threatening on camera. Our comments about the show, or you'll see stuff online to where they're saying, real negative things, or insensitive, or arrogant things, ignorant things. So, for there is, you take it day by day. You know, just know that you're gonna deal with racism in this industry. And I'm a black man, so set hasn't taught me anything that real life hasn't already taught me. Uh, so yeah, that's how I would say that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you have had the opportunity to work with a lot of great co-stars, right?
Yes.
Can you talk about some of the things that you might have learned from being on set with Sterling or with anybody else that you worked with, and what that process has been like for you?
Yeah. So with Mr. Sterling, I saw how down to earth you can still be when still being in that position. He's still so hungry, and that's very inspirational to me. Um, Mr. Milo, he remembers that the guy who plays Jack, and This Is Us. He remembers uh, everybody's name. So I started then trying to remember people's names, and then trying to have conversations with people when I first meet them, and then being able to bring up that conversation if I learn something about them later on, because people will reveal something to you, or being able to build a connection through sports with somebody that's on set, or making sure that the crew knows that they're appreciated. I feel like that's what I've learned most from them. Um, you know, and then to treat, younger actors, with a certain level of kindness. I think when I worked with Denzel Washington and I met him, he made me feel comfortable. It was as if he was having a conversation with me, not me having a conversation with him. As when meeting Denzel, I want to talk to him, but is you really finna talk to Denzel? Like, that's a whole other thing. And he took it out of his, he didn't have to, but he made sure that on set I was comfortable. And he was talking to me, and when we were doing our scenes, he, let's go right back into it. He was very kind, and I feel like that's what I've learned the most, to be kind. Uh, but then also to stand on who you are, because while they are kind, those are the shakers and movers.
I want a new lawyer. I want to switch. I have rights. Mr. Jackson is the one who comes to court, but he comes to me for legal guidance. Now, you're being overcharged. To accept a plea and to keep things moving, they want to punish you for even asking for a day in court. It's a volume business.
So when they say something, people listen, so when you have that power, you need to know how to use it. But still with that certain level of kindness, but still that sternness, because you a shaker and mover. This is how I want things to be handled. This is how it's going to be handled. But I'm not going to say it in a demeaning way or talking down to you. So I feel like that's what I've learned the most from them. And trust me, I'm stealing all the keys from them. I'm always trying to have conversations or anything that I can, use for how to benefit me in the future.
Do you still get nervous when you walk into a new project, when you walk on set?
Yeah, but I don't get nervous about the role anymore.
Okay.
I get more nervous about me walking into rooms now and me becoming a young man and how I'm going to be viewed and how I'm going to, move in this new chapter of my life. I don't get nervous about what I'm going in there to do, because I view it, I'm a mercenary, I'm going in there to handle my task. Like, y'all want me, I'm about to act my butt off. I'm about to show it off, so I get more nervous about the interactions that happen when we're not filming, because that's where the real relationships are made, through, talking with people, building connections, stuff like that. So I feel like I get more nervous about that. Like, all right, let's hope I'm, handling myself accordingly. Let's hope I'm, stuff like that.
Sure. I have a question here from somebody who I guess they had a negative experience with a director. So the question was, how do you work with different directors, especially when you might not be seeing eye to eye?
People are going to forget a lot of the work that you do.
Mm.
I've done stuff within the past 8 months that people were talking about like crazy. Then it came out and nobody's talking about it anymore. Nobody's going back to see it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
20 years from now, people are not going to be going back to see this movie that I did in 2020. I feel like people are going to be forgetting that year. While I feel like we're very personal about the roles that we take, no one, we view it as important because it's important to us.
Right.
But in all actuality, it's not as big as we think. So for me, if you're trying to, if you view the character one way and the director doesn't view it that way, one conversation is all that's needed, just to see where his mindset's at, or his or her mindset's at, versus yours. And then once you hear that, move accordingly. My thing is, so you don't have to have a headache, just do what he wants, whether it's bad or not. He'll see on camera that it's not getting what he wants. And, sometimes the director can see things that you don't see. So while you may think you're right, you're not. Or the director knows how he wants the scene to be because He's talked with the writers. He's talked with the producers. We have not. Um, so I get the problem of dealing with negative directors when it comes to what you want to show in a scene. And for me, you know, let's say there's 5 takes. I'll do it my way 3. I'll do it their way twice. And then there's another question where it's then when there's I've also worked on set where I've had a woman as my counterpart in the scene, and the director's being demeaning to them because of their gender. And for me, as the guy who hasn't been the one getting demeaned, I've just always tried to be there for my fellow actor and support them, and maybe say a few words to the director like, hey, just watch how you say a few things, because if a man is demeaning another woman based on their gender, they're going to respect the other man coming to them rather than that woman coming to them,
Right.
because they already are viewing the world messed up, so even as young as 17, I've had to stand up for 20-year-old actresses to 40-year-old directors, and that director respects the hell out of me, but he needed to stop treating that actress how he was treating her. So, saying a few things like that is always beneficial. And then being that girl, just staying calm. Because once we're the ones to break, you could be getting treated bad all day, but if you're the one to have that reaction, you're the problem, not them. So just staying comfortable, staying calm, and using other people around you as your support system is what I would recommend.
Nice. So everybody wants to know about you when you found out you booked This Is Us.
Yes.
Talk about that process. What was like, obviously, I'm sure you were extremely excited about it, but what was that like for you?
I had just come home. I actually wasn't. I actually was, but I wasn't.
Okay.
Just came back from a long day of school. I just swam. I'm taking off all my clothes in my room. I'm ashy in a mug. And my mom was like, hey, Niles, you actually booked that show that you auditioned for. We got to go head down to LA for a fitting. And we live all the way in Thousand Oaks. That was like a 50-minute drive. So I just remember being like, But when we got on set, because at first it was just supposed to be a guest star role. So I just thought it would be one episode, which could maybe turn into more because I was playing a younger Sterling. But I just remember showing up on set and there being all the producers and writers there, and me being like, "Why are these people looking?" You know what I'm saying? And Milo coming up and being like, "Oh, we have a lot in store for you guys. Like, you guys are gonna be here for a while." And him saying it with like some mischievous smile, and me being like, "Cool," I had set a goal when the year first started. I walked into my agent's office because we had just moved to LA. January 4th or 3rd, like literally, I think right on the date, January 1st. And I went into his room around like February and I said, hey, I want to book, this is a 15-year-old, by the way. I want to book a series regular role by the end of the year. That's my goal. That's what we got to do.
Yeah.
And being like, all right, you know what I'm saying?
Sure.
That
Yeah.
was regular role, and I did that 9 months into 9 months. It was like maybe like August or September. So I was able to achieve that goal. But I just remember, feeling so proud of myself because, when we left Atlanta and went to New York, it was me, my mom, my father, and my sister. And then he sadly passed away in New York. And that made it to where we didn't have a lot of money. So we had to move back down to Atlanta for a year. And I booked I believe 2 to 3 roles, self-tape, which we used all the money that we had been saving up to drive out to New York and then back all the way 4 days, in order to save up enough money to be able to move to LA. And then we did the cross-country drive to LA. And then we're staying with friends in their room, you know what I'm saying? And in a 2-bedroom apartment with me, my sister, my mom, him, his mom, and his grandma. And then 9 months later to then be in a position of where, I'm on This Is Us, which this was season 1, so this is when they were really a #1 show too.
Right.
Man, surreal. And it just made me excited for the future.
I had the privilege of knowing your father a little bit, and I was always very struck by the way that he cared for you, and for your mom, and for your sister. And it was very evident right off the jump that, like, this is my family, this is where we're going, and I want to protect them and take care of them. I know we talked a little bit earlier too, and only if you're comfortable, right? About what it means to have that type of family support. Sometimes I think actors think that we have to relive trauma to be able to be an actor. And I know that there was an episode of This Is Us that dealt with Milo's character's death. Yeah. If you're comfortable, was that a difficult episode for you to think through? Were there, like, emotionally, was that hard to walk through it all as a person?
So I've heard that thing a lot. I hear a lot of actors. I have peers that do it to where when they have a big scene, they think about sad stuff.
Right.
Isn't that unhealthy?
Yeah. Yes, it is.
So when my father died, my mom made sure I went to like group therapy and stuff like that. And I was around a bunch of other peers who have had people die. So whether it was kids who had lost their grandparents or lost their mom, their brother, we were all put into this thing called Kate's Club and Looking Ahead group, which was in New York, and Kate's Club was in Atlanta. And I went there. We go on field trips. We talk. I never spoke, but I would listen to what these other kids had to say, and I would hear stories about how kids woke up, went to school, came back home, your dad died because he had a heart attack at work. And I think that really put into perspective. I had 3 months with my father before he passed away. He was in and out of the hospital, but I still had 3 months with him. Most people don't even get that. I had a father that really cared about me, like you just said. Some people don't even get that. Some people have fathers that are alive, and the men don't want to be in their lives. So, the fact that I was able to get him for 12 years is better than some people were able to get for 40. And I knew how much he cared about what I'm doing. You know what I'm saying? This career path for me, and how much he believed. So it really pushed me, and it made it to where when I look back on the situation, I do deal with sadness, but it can't make me cry. I don't know why. I have nothing against crying. I cried when it happened. I may get a tear, here and there. But when I think about it, I feel nothing but happiness because I've made him proud, and I'm not even done, So for me, if we can still open up traumas and it get us emotional, we got to do some work. Because forget acting. You can't be crying over trauma, to where it's negatively affecting you. You can cry over trauma, but you can't let traumas negatively affect you, 5 years down the line, 6 years, 7 years, So for me, if I try to think about my father, I don't cry per se about the situation. But if I think my father sacrificed so much for me, let's make him proud right now, then I can cry. Like it's a difference.
Yeah.
I'm not crying because of my sadness over his passing. I'm crying because he passed when making sacrifices for myself, so I'd be able to do the things that I'm doing. So I think that's how I view it. I feel like if you're having to be in a scene and think about other circumstances to cry, that's not acting.
Yeah.
To me, when I've been on set, you brought up that episode about Jack's passing. When we were filming that scene, we had to do those cry scenes for 2 hours. Yeah. And they literally just jump cuts that were they only used like 9 seconds of it.
Yeah.
They had me crying in a hot house for 2 hours and they only used 9 seconds of it.
Yeah.
How rigorous acting is. So we're doing the scenes. John Huertas, who has been on Castle as Esposito,
Yep.
you know, just a cool guy. He's making jokes before we start filming, like making jokes, laughing about stuff, you know. And I'm, you know, trying to get into my cry mode because it's when I'm earlier and, you know, being on This Is Us, I haven't stolen as much from them. So I don't, you know, I don't know. So I'm still kind of having fear when having to tape scenes like that. So I'm taking out my context. I go, God, I can't cry when I'm doing that. And he's over there laughing. Like, I'm like, is this man having a stand-up set right now? And then we start filming. Luckily, I've been drinking my water. I'm hydrated. I'm crying. This man turns around the corner and he's so emotional. And I remember just being like, 10 seconds ago, he was laughing his butt. How did he do that? How did he do that transition? Acting. He didn't have to be listening to some music. You know,
Right.
he didn't have to be, you know, thinking of something sad. He was comfortable enough. He found his comfortability and was able to just tap into it. So that's what finding your comfortability allows you to do. Handling your traumas, making sure that you're mentally good, makes it to where when you're on set, you're killing it. It's nothing for you to play that other character because you're good within yourself.
Right.
You know, so yeah, I don't know if, you know, thinking about, if I was thinking about my father doing them scenes, I don't think I would have been able to even give a performance because I just would have been just like,
Yeah.
you know, so yeah, I understand using your traumas. And if you have to use your traumas to cry early in your career, go for it. But make sure that's not what you're having to rely on. Make sure you're actually getting those traumas healed. Because I feel like that's when you also are able to find your comfortability. Because I had to be going in the audition rooms thinking, dang, like I could have been going into audition rooms thinking, dang, my dad died. I gotta book this.
Yeah.
That wasn't my mindset. That can't be your mindset because you're not going to reach success if you're always thinking about the negative things that have happened that have tried to push you off this path for success. So yeah, that's what I say.
Yeah. Listen, man, it has been great to talk to you and to catch up. If there's anything that you could say to young kids that are sitting out there, or even to their parents, because I think a lot of times parents are the ones that are more concerned, right? Because they don't know what the career path is going to show for them, and they want to get involved in the industry. They want to work. Like, what would you tell them to help kind of ease their fears about their kids that want to dive into this?
Support them. Greatness is bigger than us, so we can't understand it. I think the more you try to understand something that is greater than you, the less you truly do understand it. Unless you are the person that's trying to achieve that greatness.
Yeah.
So I tell parents, keep instilling how big education is, but make sure that you are helping your kid chase that dream. Because it may not even be acting, could be directing, could be producing, could be fashion, could be modeling, like could be voice acting, could be stage, could be being a stage hand, could be getting in the crew. Like you never know where that passion can take someone. Maybe music, like you genuinely don't know. And I feel like we've only been viewing, you know, as Black people, you know, as music, and then there's, I guess you say, sports
Right.
that get us out. And this is another avenue. Uh, and you know, in sports, there's always going to be someone that can jump higher than you, or can, you know, throw that ball farther, unless you're Patrick Mahomes. You know, there's always going to be, you know, another person that can do what you can do, you know, if not better. But I feel like in acting, there's literally nobody that could play Randall like how I play Randall. and I can't, if someone else was Randall, I wouldn't be able to play how they play Randall. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, so people can replicate it, but you know, it's not going to be the same. You know, so, you know, just start viewing this industry and not just in front of the camera, but behind the camera, and think about all the amazing things that you can do. You know, so don't be one-minded in your pursuit of success in the entertainment industry, and realize how lonely it is before you get into it. Don't be in here expecting that you're going to meet friends and everybody's going to be real, because people don't even understand, especially at this age, that it's a marathon and not a sprint. So there's going to be a lot of people trying to achieve success off rip, and quick success usually doesn't result in long standing careers. It can, but we've at least seen 200 people blow up, you know, in this pandemic, that, you know, aren't going to be here next year in that same type of way. So, you know, I just say, understand that this is, you know, a journey, and that you need to prepare yourself for not just right now, but that job that may come 2 years from now. And, you know, as long as you're thinking in that mindset of, this is where I want to be, this is where I want to end up, you know, to me, what can stop you? Because that's how I've been thinking with this mindset. And I feel like what I've achieved is something that somebody couldn't have thought would happen in their wildest dreams. And then I tell kids to be yourself. Because like I said earlier, can't nobody be you.
Yeah.
Be yourself. Be yourself. And don't listen to others, because you know, don't nobody know your story. Don't nobody really need to know your story unless you want to say it. But nobody's deserving of your energy unless they, you know, are respecting you and respecting your dreams. Yep. So, you know, don't listen to others. I stay away from you know, a lot of people in this industry. If you were to talk to people, they say Niles rarely comes out, or Niles is always ducked off, or, you know, if you get Niles to come out, whoa, like that's crazy. That's good, because like I said, with when you walk into audition rooms, less is more. Even with people that you deal with in this industry, less is more. Because when you're a mystery, they keep wanting more.
Yeah. Listen, it has been fantastic to talk to you today, brother.
Thank you. It's been fantastic to talk to you too.
Yeah.
I remember when I used to do Lion King, I always used to be like, damn, he has a deep voice. I want my voice to be deep like that. I swear. Now look at my voice.
Man, I told you, you got on. I was like, well, I need to
speak it into existence. That's what I need, right? Come on.